Member for Coquitlam, Maillardville.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker, and thank you for the opportunity to stand in this House and speak to the idea of working in partnerships. Now, I've spent my entire adult life working together with people about issues and concerns that matter most to them. As an individual, couple, and family therapist for over 20 years, I've had the opportunity to work with so many people from so many different walks of life to address ways to come together, to identify shared problems or concerns, to bring resources and ideas to the table, and to develop a plan to resolve or change the identified problem in some way. So here I am as a politician in this House, still committed to those very same family therapy principles that I saw work in small family units and in the workplace. I stand here with the belief that these same principles work when we are addressing problems in our communities and in our province. So, Honourable Speaker, what does it mean to work in partnership? Partnership is a relationship based on mutual respect. Each party to the partnership brings something of value to the conversation, and all the partners are recognized with respect for what they bring to the table, their commitment for being in the relationship, and their desire to make things better. So when I think about how we as government work in partnership, I have to say that at times I am surprised and shocked and disappointed at how partnership is understood here in this House. First, Honourable Speaker, I just want to talk about partnerships that I've seen with local governments. Now, we all live and rely on government services that are provided at the local level, the regional level, the provincial level, and the federal level. And while government likes to say there is only one taxpayer, we seem to forget that each level of government is responsible for providing services to their constituents. It's carved out and defined for each level of government. So what does this government say when they work in partnership with local governments? Does that mean that we're treating local governments with respect? Does that mean that we recognize and value the resources that local governments bring to the table? 2 years ago, this government released a flawed Ernst & Young report in the weeks leading up to the local elections, insinuating that local government spending was out of control. Where was the partnership then, Honourable Speaker? Where was the conversation about how to work together to resolve some sort of perceived issue? There was no dialogue, just blame, just derision, and just plain old disrespect. And what about partnership with First Nations? There's certainly been talk about partnership, but respect? Last year at the 11th hour, without so much as a conversation with First Nations leaders, this government decided not to move forward with appointing George Abbott as Chief of the BC Treaty Commission. It blindsided First Nations and the federal government. In a true partnership, Honourable Speaker, we talk to our partners before we act. We consult with our partners, we talk over concerns, we don't make unilateral decisions and dismiss partners as irrelevant, discounting them as true partners. So how do we talk about our partners? Because I think that's really important. So I'm not convinced that calling First Nations leaders a ragtag bunch is about how you treat your partners with respect. When you have a difference of opinion with a government in relationship based on respect, name-calling is not part of that. And what about partnership with all the 60 school boards, right? This is a model, and we've talked about it as a model of co-governance. So when I think about co-governance in my community, we talk about working together. And it's much like co-parenting. Each parent...
Keep in mind that what I reminded the members earlier under Standing Orders 25A.
I have some concerns about how we do partnership here in this House. I think partnership is an important piece of the work we all do. We all talk with our stakeholders, and when I have some concerns about how we do it, I think we need to be able to talk about that. I do have some concerns about how we relate to others who provide services in our community. I really do believe, Honourable Speaker, that we have to have an opportunity to talk about the way in which we work with our partners. And it is critically important that we are critical of ourselves in the ways in which we do the work of the business of this government. And as a private member, I'd like the opportunity to talk about some of those concerns and make sure that we are all paying attention to how it is that we do partnership. I think that when we say that we want to work with you, we say to whether it's local government, whether it's school board, that we work with some sort of respect that says, I trust you, I have faith in you, I will listen to what it is you have to say, because partnership is based on those sorts of notions. It's not okay to just use the words. Words have to follow with actions, and actions that include conversation, that include hearing other opinions that say, oh, you don't agree with that? Well, let's see if we can hash that out, Honourable Speaker. I think it's really important that any government has a responsibility to listen to what their partners have to say, to not treat them with derision, to not treat them with disrespect, to not engage in name-calling, to at least, at a minimum, say, we disagree. And that's okay, because disagreement is what makes this province great. The opportunity to have debate, the opportunity to have discussion, the opportunity to bring people together, to have differences of opinion, and to work together to find solutions to these very real problems. And I'm just using examples, Honourable Speaker, where I have been very frustrated. As a private member, as a member from Coquitlam, Maillardville, representing my constituents, I have heard some very serious concerns. And as a private member, I want to bring this forward to the House for debate. So when we talk about school boards and the challenges that they're having, they are not feeling like they have a partner in this government. They are not feeling that. They are unilaterally told what to do, when to do, how to do, and that doesn't go with a co-governance model that they have been led to believe that they have. So I have some serious concerns in representing the people of Coquitlam, Maillardville about how it is in this House we talk about partnership and how we do partnership. And I seriously think that we ought to be paying attention to the process of partnership, not just to the end game, not to the decision, not to you're either with me or against me. It is about coming together. It is about listening to each other. It's about having a serious commitment to resolve issues and concerns. It's not about name-calling. It's not about ignoring concerns. It's not about saying you're against us.
Thank you, Member.